Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I actually wanted to cover um, Apple's new child safety protection tool. And the reason why is because I've seen tons of articles all over. I've seen people talking about it on social media, including platforms like TikTok, where they're just giving false information and it's not leading to people understanding what the tool is there for. So I wanted to debunk the information and also give you guys my opinion. Um, Before we start the video, this video contains information that is actual information from websites that you can visit. I'll leave in the description box down below. And it also includes my opinion. So you may not agree with my opinion, but at the end of the day, it's my opinion, and we all have a right to share our own opinion and our own views. So the purposes of this video is to let people be more informed and educated. That way they're not just spurting out an opinion that was given based off of some partial information that didn't give the full picture. So to start, I'm going to read a few things from some social media and a website first, and then we'll get into the CSAM details. So first off is if you go to Wired, there's an article where it says Apple walks a privacy tightrope to spot child abuse in iCloud. If you kind of scroll down in here, you'll see this um, section that's inserted here where it says in quotes from Nadim Kolbesi. I may have butchered the name, but I've tried my best pronouncing it. Basically, they stated, I'm not defending child abuse, but this whole idea that your personal device is constantly locally scanning and monitoring you based on some criteria for objectionable content and conditionally reporting it to the authorities is a very, very slippery slope, says this person, a cryptographer and founder of the Paris based cryptography software firm Symbolic Software. I definitely will be switching to an Android phone if this continues, is what they stated. Furthermore, on Reddit, because a lot of people go on Reddit to share their opinion, um, this person also states that they don't agree with it, and basically, they state that what they can easily summarize in question is who actually owns your device and the content on your device. That's kind of where they feel is like they feel like they don't have control of their device and the content of their device after they purchased it. Um, One thing to note is that software that scans for CSAM is not new. It's been around. A lot of times it happens on the cloud. What Apple's doing is they're making a more hybrid approach where it's happening on the cloud and also on the physical device. The reason why on the physical device is because on the physical device allows them to make the device itself more secure. So when that kind of stuff happens, it matches hash keys rather than images. And the hash keys, which is a series of letters and numbers, if they match, the content is sent to an Apple team that then checks to see if it actually matches. If it does match, then they send it off, and that's how that happens. But this is basically allowing Apple to cut out more features that are usually there for CSAM because typically it all happens on the cloud. It doesn't happen on the device. So with it being hybrid on happening on the device and the cloud, it prevents that kind of material from going to the cloud in the first place. So then everything else on your cloud, other than that type of material that is in violation, known as CSAM, will be encrypted. That way then the CSAM is detected and law enforcement's notified. So I want to go over the CSAM information from Apple's website, which, by the way, all of this information will be in the description box down below. So basically, Apple's saying at Apple, their goal is to create technology that empowers people and enriches their life while helping them stay safe. They want to help protect children from predators who use communication tools to recruit and exploit them, and limit the spread of child sexual abuse material, which is what's known as CSAM. And if you don't know, in the United States alone, there have been millions of cases where children have been contacted online from very weird and suspicious people and exchanged photos because they were told to and encouraged to, um, from creepy people. And then afterwards, those children, after exchanging these specific photos and stuff, will then be asked to also exchange information like where they're at, where they're located, and then later on it ends up becoming an issue with child abduction where the child gets stolen and kidnapped. And then later on, that child is never ever to be seen again. The only time that the child is usually seen is when the child is older or the child is found unfortunately dead because the child was then taken from their parents' home and put into a child sex ring. So I mean that honestly that is what happens. That's why these types of things are here to try and prevent this now, is because it happens too often where children are taken, they're abducted from their own home, and then they're then sold on the black web for perverts to do nasty stuff with pictures or even make extremely high amounts of bids on children and teenagers, and then it's horrible. It really is. If you do your own research, you'll know that it happens a lot in the United States, happens a lot in Mexico, it happens a lot in other countries as well. So it's not something new. It's something that's been happening. So this is to help combat that if you don't know and you're in the dark for some wild reason. So Apple is basically launching this CSAM detection tool in three ways. One is on the actual phone itself. If you have an iPhone, you have an iPad, or you have a Mac, it will scan for this kind of content on the device as the content is being added to the device. And by scan, it's not like they're physically scanning the photo and copying it or anything like that. They're using, like I said, a hex key, which is letters and numbers. If the hex key matches, that's how they're identifying it. It's the only way that they can do it in order to keep both your information private and also still help to combat CSAM. So that's the first way they're doing it. The second way that they're doing it is through communication in messages. So if a child is texting a predator asks for revealing photos that are explicit. Basically, Messenger will match the photo's hash key to the hash key of what's been uploaded into the system from NCMEC, which is who Apple's working with. And NCMEC is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It'll match the hash key there. If it's identified in messages, then messages will pop up with these three things. Let me see if I can just zoom in on it so you guys can see. So basically it'll pop up with this thing. It'll say helping with communication safety. Apple products can help protect kids from sending or viewing photos that may be sensitive with resources to guide them. On-device intelligence can detect potentially sexually explicit photos and messages and provide a two-step intervention to help a child make a choice where to send or view them. Apple does not get access to the photos. And this is where it's important. When the CSAM filter determines that something is in violation, it doesn't send the photo itself to Apple for Apple to review. Apple's review team is only going to match the hash key. So Apple's team is not sitting around looking at these photos of whatever is going on. Instead, a series of letters and numbers known as a hash key is going to be sent to Apple for Apple to match against the database. Once it's matched against the database, their team that handles this kind of stuff will then review to make sure that the hash is matched, which is the letters and numbers, but they won't have access to whatever the picture is. Then additionally in messages, you'll see this come up, for instance, um, where it says here, um, check this photo out. This may be sensitive, view photo. Basically, what this is if a child is sending sensitive information, the phone is going to, in messages, is going to warn the child that the content is sexually explicit. After it warns the child, it's going to say this: this could be sensitive to view, are you sure? Afterwards, it's going to say sensitive photos and videos show the private body parts that you cover with bathing suits. It's not your fault, but sensitive photos and videos can be used to hurt you. The person in this might not want it seen. It could have been shared without them knowing. After, it states that it's going to ask not now or I'm sure. If the child presses I'm sure and they send the photo, then this second image here will be what their parent receives, where it'll say check out this photo, and then it'll say this may be sensitive, and then the parent can select view photo to see what's going on. Additionally, there'll be some pop-ups where it'll kind of help guide children of things to do. See, like for instance, where it says it's your choice, but your parents want to know you're safe. So it sends notifications to basically the child's parent. If the child is in a family sharing plan, that's how that will work to identify if there's a child or not. That's how it'll send it over, and you can see they added these little icons to show kind of how children would look when this kind of stuff happens, because children are innocent. They really don't know what's going on. So when this kind of stuff happens, I mean, children don't know what to do. They really don't. And a lot of times children are too scared to talk to their parents about this kind of stuff, and they just end up sending this stuff to these strangers, and these strangers are pretending to be people that they're not, and the next thing you know, the child is involved in a situation that they wish that they, once they're older and they understand what's going on, they wish that they never were involved in the situation, if they end up getting older, because a lot of them don't even make it to be older if they end up, being abducted for those wild sex rings and stuff. So additionally, the third thing that Apple will be adding is expanded guidance in Siri and search. So in Siri and search, if anything like that is going on, it's going to notify that that there are systems for reporting online child exploitation. You can file a report there. Additionally, if someone is looking up information that is like illegal, it's going to give them an option to learn more and get help. So those are the three ways that Apple is helping when it comes to this. Now that we've covered all of that, so you kind of understand, and if you want, you can visit this link and read the whole thing from top to bottom if you want. Some people have made comments where they're like, oh, well, I mean, if Apple's going to be like this, then I'll just switch to another platform. This is where I want to go ahead and debunk the falsitivities around CSAM detection and just moving to another platform. So Apple is being transparent because they made a modification to their CSAM. CSAM's been around for years. They've modified it. They want to be transparent, which is why they broke this down and gave you the article. But there are tons of other companies that use CSAM as we speak. If you just simply type in CSAM, CSAM on Google, it'll come up with websites that use CSAM, and you can specifically type in the websites. But for those of you who feel that you can just jump the gun and go to Android and you're going to be safe from it, you're wrong. Google has been fighting CSAM for decades. They've literally been doing it for years. So, yeah, you're not going to get away with that. And additionally, not only does Google fight CSAM by checking, doing the same thing on devices with hex keys, but additionally, Google also can find out and match hex keys online using their servers, using the DNS servers that we all use every day. A lot of people use Google DNS servers in order to browse the internet. So One thing that you should know is that one thing that you should know is that you're not safe if you decide to just jump the gun and go to Android. It's gonna be the same on Android because Google owns Android and Google's gonna implement its rules and regulations on the Android platform that they own. That's just kind of how that works. So Google does not tolerate CSAM either. They search for it in their servers, and they even give developers tools to fight CSAM. They give free tools to developers that would like to help fight CSAM on their own platforms and such. So, just a thing to keep your heads up on. Um, and another thing, just since we're on the topic of Google, Google also, unlike Apple, if the FBI or CIA or police department ask for data on an Android device, Google has stated multiple times that they do not have a problem handing that data over. So unlike Apple, where they're just using a CSAM filter, and everything else of yours is protected, Google is not just using a CSAM filter. If the government approaches Google and says, "We need blah blah blahs," try, Jane Doe's. We need Jane Doe's um, information on her Android phone. Google will hand the information over to the government without a question. And they won't ask for a warrant either. They are willing to hand the data over without any worry and no fuss with the government. It's the same thing with Amazon's platform. Amazon has also stated that they are willing to hand over information to the United States government without any questions being asked. So if they ask for any of your information or data, they will hand it over and they will not ask any questions. And this goes even for like your home security cameras, from your front door doorbell all the way up to the cameras that you may have on your house for surveillance. The police department and the United States government can request that footage, and if it's going through Amazon's Alexa platform or Google's Google Home platform, that will also be turned over, and they won't ask any questions, and they also won't require a warrant to do so. So I mean, that's just for your information, so that way you know. That I mean, you can go wherever you want, but additionally, moving on to DNS and CSAM. Cloudflare has also announced that they have CSAM scanning, and they also have free CSAM scanning tools for their customers that use Cloudflare servers. So, if you don't know, Cloudflare is also a company that hosts tons of DNS servers. They're like supposed to be one of the most secure, one of the most open, one of the fastest, and they don't sell any of your data to companies like Google for them to personalize ads or anything like that. They also have CSAM on their DNS servers, which basically what that is when you browse the internet at home, the way the internet works is you send a request to your internet service provider, which would be like Verizon, AT&T, Spectrum, Comcast, whoever you have. When it gets sent to your ISP then sends it out, and it goes through a DNS server, then to the company that you're looking for, such as Google, Apple, whatever website you're trying to visit. That's how it gets there. When it gets to that website, the data that website is giving you from whatever is requested on your computer is then sent back through the DNS server back to your ISP, and your ISP then sends it to your internet equipment, and then it either goes through Ethernet to your device or over the air through Wi-Fi to your device or through cellular to your device. That's how the internet works. There are a lot of other parts in between that as well that happen, but that's just the kind of basic for that, just so that way you know. So even on the DNS level, Cloudflare is also doing that as well. That way they can help prevent CSAM. And what's cool is they've actually kind of like broken down the whole way that the hash key works. So this is their reference image, for instance, instead of seeing this image within, or decrypting it in the system, instead it's going to use this, what I've highlighted. This is called a hash key, which is letters and numbers. The hash key is then taken, and the hash key is matched between other hash keys. When the hash key matches, like how it closely matches this one pretty much, that is how it matches the images, is through hash keys like this. This is how it works. There is no actual image. It uses hash keys only, and those hash keys are matched between each other, which is what creates the match and the no match. And as you can see, this fuzzy looking image, this is the hash key that's produced from it that can then be compared between the other hash key. So it's just kind of the example of how the tool works, just for those of you who need to know that. And then moving on from that, companies even all the way down to Adobe use the same CSAM tools. So, I mean, no matter where you go, CSAM is there. And the only reason why I'm talking about this and giving you guys all these examples is because you guys need to know this. Because it's here. I mean, it's been here. We just need to accept it. And instead of being negative Nancy's, we need to accept the fact that there's a tool out there that will now help prevent children from being abducted and stuff. Because we're stopping it at the root. The root cause is that children get exploited online. They send the inappropriate stuff because they don't know what to do. And next thing you know, they end up in a situation. This, by all means, is not saying that Apple is going to give all of your data to the United States government. It's just simply that they're using the CSAM tool. And to give you even more rest assurance, they don't even talk physically to the United States government. All of their communication is with NCMEC, which is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So when the hash key matches, it goes to Apple's team. Apple's team checks the hash keys to make sure the hash keys actually match. If those hash keys actually match, whatever those photos are that were in there, instead of Apple looking at any of those because they're not going to, they send those photos and the hash key out to NCMEC. NCMEC then reviews the information and they act with law enforcement. Apple does not actually call law enforcement and tell them anything at all. It's all done through NCMEC and Apple. So it's identified, and it's the same way through the other companies like Google, Cloudflare, Adobe, Microsoft. When the hash keys are matched, the information is sent to NCMEC exclusively, and they act on it. NCMEC is not there to do anything but prevent children from being abducted and all this weird sexual stuff online. That's all what they're there for. They're not there to collect intel on you. And to be completely honest, they don't give a shit about what you're doing at home. A lot of people honestly don't. The only companies that really care about that are companies like Facebook and Google because they make money off of your information. Apple does not make money off your information. They have no way of making money off your information. They don't sell ads. The only ad platforms that there are is Google, Facebook, and then Microsoft has some ad platforms, but they don't really use ads that often either. So, I mean, that's just for your information. And additionally, here's the website, if you wanted to read it, from Adobe. Here's Microsoft's PhotoDNA. PhotoDNA is the same thing, and as proof, you can see that they started their thing in 2009. You can see that Cloudflare started theirs in 2019. So none of this is new. It really isn't new. It's been here. This is for your information. That way you guys can understand. It's the same thing with YouTube. YouTube calls it CSAI match. So as you can see the people down here, the companies that are also using it. Yahoo uses it. Tumblr uses it. Thorn, Reddit, Adobe. Canada's Canadian Centre for Child Protection even uses CSAI and CSAM. So, I mean, it's used everywhere. And I hope that this video has given you guys enough information so that way you guys can debunk the false sensitivities that the news gives you, because sometimes the news is just basically an opinion. There's no facts in there. It's just a straight up opinion. Whereas this video, I'm giving you guys my opinion, but I'm giving you guys leading facts with my opinion. So that way you know that it's not just an opinion generated from what I think, it's an opinion that's generated around the facts that are there. So, I do want to thank you guys for tuning into my YouTube channel. I thank you guys for taking the time to watch the video all the way through to the end. If you did, I hope that you guys gained information from this. And if you already knew this information, then I'm glad that you already knew this information. Share this video with people that should know the information. So if you find someone online and they're just not knowing what they're talking about when stuff when it comes to CSAM or CSAI, then share this video. That way they can see it. And tell them additionally in the description box of this guy's video, he's even been generous enough to leave the links that of the websites he's using in the video. That way people get more informed and more educated, because one of the things that are the most irritating is people that make opinions without any education behind it. They just say it because they want to say it. I think that if a lot of us start making educated decisions by doing research, then it'll help prevent a lot of people from sounding unintelligent, to kind of put it nicely. And it'll also help create a better world for everybody, because instead of people being selfish and just thinking about themselves, they'll do research and they'll know that the research points to these specific facts. But yeah, at this point I'm rambling. I thank you guys once again for tuning in. Make sure that you guys thumbs this video up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel for more. Just as a reminder, this is my opinion and facts. If you don't like what I said in this video, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to like what I said. This is my channel. It is my content, so I have control of what I post on here. But if you liked it, like I said, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I hope to see you guys on the next YouTube video. Thank you so much for tuning in.